Everyone has a destiny. We all have a set path in life, and no matter what we do, we cannot set off that path. Now, whether you believe that statement is true or not is entirely up to you. But media has made it look like having a set destiny is not a bad thing. How many times in media has there been an ancient prophecy saying a destined hero will rise up and overthrow the empire? How many times has there been a chosen one destined to defeat an ancient evil? How many times has there been a destined one or chosen one that saved the world, got the girl, and lived happily ever after? But how many times has the opposite happened? Where the chosen one was destined not to become the hero and save the world, get the girl and live happily ever after, but to become the villain that the real heroes have to fight. This is that story. Meet Frank Halloran. He's just your average college student majoring in philosophy. He has a girlfriend named Sarah. She's a bitch. We'll get into that later. He has his own place next to the campus he goes to. He is excelling in his classes, has a loving girlfriend, and while he can come off as a bit philosophical at times, he is a nice guy at heart. However, his life is beginning a downward spiral the day he met his father, his true father. Amazo, the superpowered android that has all the Justice League's superpowers, drops several bombshells on the poor boy. 1. He is Amazo's son. Professor Ivo, Amazo's creator and Frank's technical grandfather, used Amazo's robot bits and combined them with the eggs of a human female, thus creating Frank as a result. 2. All of Frank's memories of his family, childhood, teenage years, and taste in movies were all implemented within him by Professor Ivo, meaning his whole life has been a lie, and at best he is but 2-ish years old. And 3. Amazo reveals to Frank his true destiny. To team up with his father, and the two of them will destroy the Justice League. Frank takes these bombshells rather well and argues against Amazo and his whole destiny speech. He doesn't believe in destiny, and whatever happens next is his choice. Meanwhile, the Justice League learn about Frank and his potential, and debate what to do with him. Flash and Green Lantern are in favor of destroying the kid ASAP, since they know how dangerous his old man is on a bad day. Wonder Woman is against that, and says that Frank should decide his own fate. John Jones and Batman are cautious, while Superman votes to keep an eye on him and try to see if they can save him from his predetermined destiny. Amazo shows Frank all of the wonderful things he can do with his powers. The strength of Superman, the speed of Flash, and so much more. He can become a god, but Frank doesn't want that. He just wants to be left alone and live his life. However, that all changes when Amazo creates an earthquake. Frank hesitates for a moment, but swoops down to save the people. He does this not because of some preset destiny, but of his own free will. And to piss off his old man. Frank starts on the path of becoming a superhero, unaware that he is being watched by Jean. The Martian peers into his mind and discovers that he is on the edge of insanity. Because of the shock of learning he's half robot and half human, along with the jarring sensation of learning you are not who you think you are, can affect anyone. And how they react to such a realization is dangerous. So dangerous that one woman goes out and tells Sarah the truth about Frank on her own. That was a bad call. The last thing someone needs on the verge of insanity is someone telling others their secrets. And this is what causes Frank to begin that downward spiral to villainy. Sarah breaks up with him, now knowing the truth. Now, on the surface, it looks like she's hurt that Frank kept his superhero identity a secret from the woman he loves, but nope, she's still a bitch. After that, Frank goes off the rails. He finds out the Justice League has been meddling with his life, and that sets him off. He becomes a villain. He lets the criminals escape, attacks Batman, and threatens Sarah to make Wonder Woman come out so he can kill her for ruining his love life. It's here we learn that Frank is superior to Amazo. Professor Ivo not only programmed him with all of the Justice League's powers, but also their personalities as well. meaning Frank knows how to think and how to use use that against them. Basically, they're their own psychological weaknesses, their inner demons and all that. That is especially dangerous considering that the League can't get along with themselves. But if Frank can get all those personalities in his head to work together, he might be unstoppable. However, before that final showdown, Frank needs to find out something first from Professor Ivo. He wants to know who he is. He isn't Frank Halloran anymore, and he isn't any of the Justice League members bouncing around in his head. He doesn't know who he is, though I will still be calling him Frank, and needs some form of identity to clasp onto. He wants to find out where he came from. Now, he knows who his dad is, but who is his mother? And thus, bombshell number 4 is dropped on Frank. While he was able to brush off the first 3 with ease, this one damages him so much he embraces his villainous destiny. 4. Sarah is his mother. Turns out Ivo planted her to be his girlfriend to sway him onto the path of villainy in case he had his doubt. They were even going to go so far as to fake her death on the JLA to give him a reason to destroy them. You now see why I kept calling her a bitch, right? Well, in many cases, this bombshell is what causes Frank to go completely bonkers. To find out your girlfriend is your mother would drive anyone insane. Combined with the multiple personalities of the Justice League bouncing around in his head, and the realization that he's a cyborg, all within the span of, well, at most, a week, Frank snaps. The final showdown begins, and Frank proves just how deadly he can be. He knows how to pick apart each member of the Justice League, and tear them apart both inside and out. Green Lantern even admits that facing off against him is like facing off against their inner demons. It seems that Frank will win, but then it's revealed that all of the JLA personalities in his head can't get along. They can't get along any better than the actual Justice League, and that proves to be too much for Frank, who explodes from such a conflict. The dust settles and it looks like they saved the day. Flash certainly thinks so, but to the rest of the League, this whole ordeal just shows their inner demons and their flaws. Frank showed them they couldn't get along as a team, and that caused him to explode. So what does that say about the actual Justice League? Poor Frank. That's all I have to say about the story. Just poor Frank. Just yeah. Like I don't know what to say. What I already haven't said in summary. Like his life was pretty much perfect at the start. Like he was doing well in college. Uh, had a girlfriend. Well, and you know my thoughts on her. Uh, and yeah, was just an average guy. Sure. He came. Sure, his attitude took a bit getting used to with all of his who am I, what am I doing here stuff. But overall, he was really likable. Yeah, and I wanted to see him like maybe not embrace it, maybe not become a superhero, but to at least come out on top somehow, which sadly didn't happen. Yeah, like he like he found out he was half robot, half human, a cyborg, or an android. I'm not entirely sure about the technicality on that. He he's the son of one of the Justice League's most dangerous villains. Like and and to top it all off, his girlfriend was his mother, planted to be his girlfriend to make sure he stayed on the path of villainy. That that that's just anyone would crack from that. That's all that's what I'll say on that topic. Yeah. And yeah, that's the main chunk of the story that's wrapped around it, about Frank's slowly the downfall to villainy, and then his eventual death. But there are other aspects of the story the that were good and bad. Well, one good thing was that there are genuine moments where Amazo saw showed a genuine emotions. Like, he was really hurt when Frank told him off, and yeah, he he was a bit more human in the story, if if that sums it up. Yeah, and it's too bad that he sort of phased out by the end of it. Like, seriously, he starts with a strong presence, then he sort of just fades out. Like, I'm not entirely sure if he knows about Frank's death. So yeah, and then there's Sarah. At the end of the story, she does feel a little remorseful about her actions, and she may have well as loved Frank, now either as a boyfriend or a son. I'm not entirely sure, and she does miss him, but still still that doesn't excuse her actions in the story, in my opinion. Like, at the very least, Frank was someone she loved, and yeah, she couldn't overcome her her father's her father's influence over her, and that she went along with it, which is really sad. Yeah, yeah. And one other aspect, and this is a negative aspect, the Justice League. Like, I know that this story was sort of an arc in the Justice League titles at the time, but man, the Justice League are just, they don't get along very well. Again, I'm pretty sure that this is a bigger overarching story in that series. And I don't know the whole story as a result, but still, it comes across as would you people just suck it up and start acting like heroes? Yeah, like they don't like just sit him Frank down and just ask him what he wants to do. Yeah. And Wonder Woman's actions about telling Sarah about going behind Frank's back and the rest of the league, that was a real sour note for me. So yeah, and yeah, this story might have gone better if the league was more well connected to say anything, but that wasn't the case, and thus and as a result, for they lost a potentially powerful ally. And speaking of the Justice League, one member in particular was really a dickish during this whole story. If you read it, you know who I'm talking about. The Flash. Ugh. Now, it's never said to mention that this is either Wally West or Barry Allen, but considering Barry Allen's still dead at this point, I think I'm going with Wally. And he says that, and he was constantly giving Frank a hard time, like saying that they should destroy him ASAP. Yeah, and he doesn't really consider that they're taking another life because he's a cyborg. I repeat, Wally West does not consider cyborg life comparable to human life, despite being on a team that had a cyborg on it. Yeah. Now, now, I do know that I do know something that provides this that excuses Wally's actions just a smidge, and and that Amazo gave him one of the worst beatings in his entire superhero career. But still, that was Amazo, not Frank. Suck it up, Wally. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, it was a good story. Don't get me wrong. Like, and it's Frank's story. Just keep that in mind. Don't expect Amaze. If you're coming into the story expecting to read about Amazo versus the Justice League, that's not going to happen. This is a story about a person's slow spiral into villainy. That's it. And yeah, in that regard, it's really good. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Anyway, see ya.